Hello everyone, Think Legacy here and welcome to my first official YouTube video. This has been a very long time coming, I of all people would know. I had a lot on my plate these past few months juggling responsibilities and learning so much in such a short amount of time, but nevertheless we've made it and I know what I have in store for the future will make your wait worth it. As of right now I have for you today the pilot episode of my Brotherhood of Steel playthrough, a kind of origin story for a character that will be the star of many of my future videos. You'll see how every little encounter and his journey through the wasteland and rise in the ranks of the Brotherhood made him who he is and how it affected his own end game. This series will lead right up into my magnum opus, my greatest work of art to date. I'll be announcing that a few weeks from now, so stay tuned. Now, bear with me. This is not any ordinary gameplay footage with reactionary dialogue. When I started working on this project, I wanted to create an entirely novel genre, I guess I could say. This is the product of an exhaustive, in-depth, and strategic experience that is meant to reflect exactly how this character would respond to every unique situation he finds himself in. The decisions made in this playthrough were vastly different than my own the first time I played because typically my approach to RPGs is governed by three principles. Hoard resources, play as a completionist, that means doing every side quest and buying up everything, you get what I mean. And always do good. Well, you'll notice this time around almost nothing will reflect that. Lastly, my favorite part as a bonus for a more immersive experience, I have brought together a medley of over 150 of the best mods known to Fallout 4, making my game look like a monument to the incredible works of the insanely talented mod authors of the Nexus. Now without further ado, I am very excited to unveil my Brotherhood of Steel playthrough series, Salvation.
War never changes. War never changes.
You're gonna knock him dead at the Veterans Hall tonight, hun.
You think?
Absolutely. Now get ready and stop hogging the mirror.
Right.
This is Nate. Nate doesn't have a last name or a significant backstory. We know nearly nothing about him, but we do know that he is a decorated war hero that served in the infantry of the United States Army during what was known as the Resource Wars. These were battles namely between China and the United States caused by overconsumption of major resources. The fairly broad depiction of Nate's character really is a clever blessing left for us by Bethesda, as it gives us a lot of freedom to craft who we want him to be. Now, rather than breaking our custom protagonist down immediately, I'm going to explain his thoughts and motivations as the gameplay progresses. This is going to make for a more natural exposition and ideally not feel too forced. But let me digress really quick here for the people who haven't played Fallout or don't know what I'm talking about. Nate is the template male character that Bethesda provides for you at the start of the game. You start with the template backstory, the template features, the template disposition. It's only when you're allowed to get away from the precedents and start choosing what you look like and dialogue options and battle tactics and endgame factions that you really have control over your character. So, as you can see, and like in any other RPG, we're starting with the physical characteristics of the avatar. This, of course, is purely for cosmetic value and doesn't affect the gameplay at all, but for me, it really is some of the little things like being able to create your own character that add to the immersion. And you'll notice as we continue through the gameplay that I really do care about immersion. Now, I'm not a very artistic person. I'm not about to sit here and start playing with facial structures and make them look like Tom Cruise or something like that. See, I know people that do that, and kudos to them, but I'm just going to take the beginner's way out here that they've provided and just clean up his face a little. The goal for me is to just make the guy look like a young, fresh product of the pre-war times. Now here, we're not going to do what everyone did with the old Madden games and just start carving this guy out of solid stone. He's going to be just big enough to claim veteranship, He stays healthy, he keeps fit. Alright, looking good. Confirm character? Yes, please. Oh, would you look at that? CBBE looks like it's loaded up. Glad that's working. So basically, if there's anything to note there, it's that there's a reason for every feature on this guy, just like there's a reason for every action I make. You may be noticing all the little alerts in the top left corner. Those would be the notifications that certain mods are running on this playthrough, but I really don't know why Cosworth is that dark matte shade. If anyone knows what mod is stripping him of that nice chrome finish, drop it in the comments for me. Oh boy, it's that Vault Tech rep. Gonna have to deal with that guy sooner or later. Oh, check it out, we've got a little immersion over here. See, I always love to see Fallout's take on America. Bethesda adds in these little touches like seeing the news play and leaving little audio logs and posters and things like that that really flesh out the lore, and it's just so good. It almost feels nostalgic, I would say, but it's really just me being envious of the 20th century style culture. Oh shoot, it looks like he's coming this way. Alright, I had some problems when recording this, so the audio quality here is very screwy, and unfortunately you won't be able to hear the Vault Tech rep's little spiel. But it basically goes like this.
Good morning, sir. I'm a representative from Vault Tech Corporation, and I just wanted to let you know that due to your service to our great country, we have a very exciting opportunity for you. Let me just cut to the chase here. You and I both know that Doomsday may very well happen any day now. Even today, if you catch my meaning. Luckily, we have the chance right now to secure you and your family with a few very short registration signatures. This will allow for space to be reserved in the local vault for you and your human family members should atomic annihilation come knocking at any moment. Now, if you haven't any questions, there's no time to waste.
So yeah, that's basically the cut the crap translation of what the guy managed to spit out in about 5 minutes. And as we all know, there's no time for dragging out sales pitches. But here we go. Everybody's favorite part, the special skills for Alexander Jefferson. A clever name I came up with, combining two Patriots names into one. Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. Now, here's the tricky part about being so god-dang immersive. You have to give the man traits that correspond with the roleplay. The problem here that I'm going to have to remedy in the future is that we're going to have to give him enough strength to reflect the army man that he is, the perception of a Jason-born wannabe, the endurance to complement his strength, the charisma to win Nora, that is, his wife, the intelligence to rise above the wasteland's fiercest, and the agility to round it all off. Oh, and hardly any luck, because we make our own luck. Alright, say goodbye to the Vault Tech guy. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Get out of my house. Now this whole sequence that forces you to engage in family time is obviously all an attempt to forge a connection with Sean and Nora, and thus the plot of the main quest. They're trying to get the same reaction out of you that you get when you watch a well-written TV show, but only in a few minutes of gameplay. I think this is why players weren't so intrigued by the main quest. Well, I think that's part of the reason. See, Fallout is a role-playing game. The goal is to allow as much freedom as possible in order to role-play. In an effort to achieve that, game developers will normally try to set up the least amount of backstory possible. Common ways of doing that are Amnesia, Fallout New Vegas, The Witcher, starting out completely fresh, Fallout 3, and giving you a little template with ample room to alter or completely change the backstory already present, and that format is found in most RPGs. Where Bethesda went wrong is, they tried to cram an emotionally bonding backstory that nobody is interested in, because we want to make the story ourselves, down our throats in a very small time frame. It's a recipe for disaster, but despite this, what may come as a shock to you is that I'm going to play along. I could find a mod that starts you in the wasteland and then I could get into character and be like, oh, that was all a bad dream, or whatever, but for the purposes of this playthrough, I want to use this backstory, and you'll see why. So, the long and short of this video is we've created Alexander Jefferson. We're going to pay some attention to the main story, but we're going to be very intentional about the way we follow it. And lastly, we want to make it a point to stick to the character himself when in doubt about anything. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it to the end, a slightly bigger thanks to you. This was a kind of introductory video to establish what to expect out of the next few episodes, and I do anticipate a significant change in pace once we start actually playing. And that's going to be a great time. Stay tuned for the next video to get to the point and see what happens when nuclear annihilation comes knocking.